Everybody, welcome back to another episode of DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm Mr. Mugler 31. I'm sorry, it's a speculation video. With today, we have practice and qualifying. Will be over till probably like almost 6 o'clock. Race starts at 8, so we have 2 hours once they finally do the tech after that, and everything what starting order is. So it's just impossible to get a video in there. So we're at Nashville. It's going to be a hot weekend. A lot of people are complaining because they don't let you bring any beverages into the venue of your own. So hopefully people can stay hydrated and be able to source enough water to be okay. It is a track that's kind of a hybrid. It's closest to Dover. It's 1.33, so it's halfway between like a mile and a half and a mile. But it's a pretty high speed one. The only problem is there's really only one groove, so after restarts and stuff, you're pretty much follow the leader, and it's almost impossible to pass. So I think looking back at last year, what I did was I pulled up who are the best in pit stops, because I think that's a way that you're going to be able to gain track position here if you can't pass, and who's the best on restarts. So I have those in the right hand side there for the top 10. So I went through and my model used like similar tracks for this, and a whole bunch of other things, fast laps and stuff to try to come up with direction. I didn't smooth them out because I usually don't like to have negatives. I usually have like a floor in it, but it just at this point, I'm gonna leave them there and we'll look back at last year's race. So Nicholas Sanchez, I have potentially getting the pole here and potentially as like a dominator, a cash play. Last year led 37 laps here with the three dominator race with Hocevar leading 40 laps, time leading 57 laps, and Sanchez leading 37. Zane Smith had 11. So Sanchez here started on the pole, finished third, had a decent day. I expect nothing less than him here. Seventh in pit crew, third in restart, so should be able to get track position there. Ruth didn't have as good a day, but he has been qualifying well in these types of tracks. That's especially in the beginning of the year. That's what kind of halted him up to be number 2 here, potentially starting. I think he probably is going to start in the top 10. Usually has pretty good speed here. Last year he started third and had some issues and ended up finishing 32nd. But overall, he did qualify well, and I think he'll do that again here. Not top 10 in pit crew, but top 10 in restarts. So I think that helps him as a upside dominator. Corey Heim has just been the head of the class here for the Truck Series this season for Truck Series regulars. Number 1 in restarts, really aggressive, does really great job there with that. So I think that's going to help him hold the lead or make up some places there. Pit crews in the top 10 also pretty solid. Last season, start fourth, finish fourth, so definitely a top 5 truck here. Grant Enfinger has decent pit crew and restarts. Just hasn't put together full races. So last year he started 6th, finished 13th, and that's kind of his like MO, like start in the top 10, fade back a little bit. Yes, he's been up there challenging for wins sometimes, but it's not always. So I think he's more of a GPP upside dominator for me. Daniel Dye, I don't think he's going to start 5th, but he has been solid holding his position, especially even if it's starting in the top 10. So if he starts in the top 10, it might be more of a GPP play, but anywhere outside the top 10, he's just had very solid form this season. And I think you can definitely play him as a cash play. Taylor Gray has had a solid season, also just kind of been overshadowed by Sanchez and Heim, but always there, and team always puts him in contention um, for the win. So last year he started 10th, finished 14th, and he's the second best pit crew, fifth in restarts. So I just really think that Taylor is probably going to be one of my prime plays here just because of how good he is on pit stops and restarts. Jack Woods, GPP, didn't have a good run last year. Started 13th, finished 30th. So, yeah, had a couple issues there. So, GPP, depending on where he starts. Majeski is always like an upside dominator here. Second in restarts, which is really good. 10th in pit. He last year also struggled, had started 11th, finished 31st. And, as much as he's can go out there and dominate a race, he can also have issues too. Akis, fifth in pit crew, not in the top 10 in restarts, so that's the thing that kind of makes him an upside dominator too, versus actually being like a cash dominator. But if any of these ones, Majeski or Ekis and Finger, actually start in like the second position or third position, then I could consider them probably a purple dominator there. Rhodes, lots of experience here, good on restarts, usually a solid cash play. Same thing with Ankrum. Good on restarts, same $500 there. So I consider them, but you're probably, if you're trying to get some of these higher priced ones, they're going to be priced in no man's land. So I don't know how much exposure you're going to have. Clint Boyer, he's got a good pit crew. Was okay in restarts in the Cup Series, but he hops into a truck. It's an all-star truck. It's the Kyle Busch truck, so it's a very good situation here. But I don't know how much rust he has. He hasn't raced in 4 years on a regular basis. So, like, does he still have it? Does he still have some skills? I don't know. I For 10K, I think he's a very intriguing GPP play, and I will have some exposure to him, but I can't do it in cash. Honeycutt's been decent. It all depends on where he starts. If he starts up here, it's going to be more of a GBP. But if he starts like in the 20s, I don't think he raced here last year, so I don't think I have any thing to really look at for that. So I think he's in play. Friesen is just he was like a 10K driver just a couple years ago, and it's just kind of like really been on the decline. Still been okay on restarts. Pit crews kind of let him down a little bit, so GPP for me. Perry has like probably been one of the his best trucks here. Again, it's going to depend on where he starts. I can see him being a cash play if he's outside the top 20. Inside the top 20 here, between 15 and 20, I think GBP. Higher than that might be a fade for me. Crafton, a veteran, has the best pit crews and done really well all season. Get him out there. Been top 10 in restarts. So I think that he's got some decent floor to be someone to consider in cash. Also, and I like that he's like in the 8K range. It's just like one of those like solid floor plays. If you need it, it's there. Plug him into your lineup, and then always someone that can be reliable there. Little bit of upside, not like home run upside, but he's the contact hitter that's going to get on base and you know be be when someone's solid to get to points. Ty Dillon's had an okay season. The form's been better recently, so I think maybe this -4 is kind of harsh. If anything, I'd probably maybe see him in a 30-point range or maybe the high 20s. Rackley is sponsoring the race, so does that mean that they get a little extra uh, TLC to the trucks and everything this week potentially? So something to definitely consider. Purdy's been solid also, and the Spire team's been good. So my model has him almost at 5x, even though he's not really great on like restarts and pit in the top 10. He's not bad at either one of those. So maybe can get a couple places and should be at least hold his position. So I think that at his price point, he could consider a prime play. Mills is a GPP, like he's got this potential as a driver. The equipment just isn't always there. Hunter Jones in the Thor Sport truck has potential to be solid, but it hasn't always put together either. So GPP for me. Jake RC, I think he can play in cash safely. He had a really good run last year here. He started 21st, finished 10th. You'd see that a lot where he doesn't qualify well and can pick up like 5 to 10 place differential points. So I think he's solid also. I think I'd pay 1,000 more for crafting for like a really solid cash play, but if you don't have the $1,000 and need to save a little bit, then I think Garcia is usually pretty sound to play there. Uh, Tanner Gray, depends on where he starts. That was GPP just because he had a little struggle here last year, but ninth in pit isn't horrible on restarts. Great team, so GPP. But if he looks good in practice qualifying, I think you can put him over the threshold for cash. Stephon Parsons has had a solid season. He's a little bit more expensive than he has been here, but I think he can also be a solid cash play. Usually, Timmy Hill is usually just a GPP punt fill in. He's getting into the 6K range. I like him better in the 5K range. Braden Queen raced at North Borough in this one race, like, and he's got a ton of experience outside of NASCAR racing. This Tricon is a great truck for him. He started 26th. He finished, I believe, fourth. So really solid outing there. I really like what I saw, and I think that he's going to be another one to watch here. That's going to qualify towards the back potentially, but really have a solid day. Brett Holmes has always been a solid floor play for cash, so I think you can play him unless he starts in the top 15-ish. Lawless Allen, he was dead last year here. I mean, I think he's got some talent and everything. I don't think he's a complete fade, but I think it's GPP for me. Thad Moffitt always finds the wall. He has one of the worst drivers in terms of fade for me. Messi, I know it has a negative here. The equipment can be suspect at times. GPP, Desnos, Dayuzat, Brian here, the FDNY truck. You usually see him in like Daytona and stuff and like a super speedways. So it's kind of interesting that it brings it out here. But they do a solid job for a team that doesn't race that often, not having mechanical issues and bringing sound trucks. So as long as he doesn't qualify like super high, I think you can consider him in cash. Mason Maggio had a super good run last year here. Uh, uh, Finished 20th after starting 30 seconds, so it's 12 place differential points. So sorry, it's super good. Made it sound like he was in the top 10, but I feel that's a solid day. And you know, the team has been okay, but just looking at how he's done here, depending on how he looks, if he's got some speed in practice, I think he would cash play. Dean Thomas, depends on where he starts there. He's been solid, good pit crew. Lost some a little bit on restart, so that's a little bit concerning to put some GPP, but I think that he could be a borderline cash play. Also, Boyd, again, if he's down here in the 30s, I think it's a good play. Lane Riggs probably won't start this far back. He did race here last year, but it was in a different ride. It wasn't in um, the ride that ended up finishing second here last year in Zane Smith, but he did start 31st and finish 27th. So we've seen the track has some experience here. So at 8,300, it's sometimes a hard sell for cash. He's got to start like 20th on back to be a cash play. If he starts anything up there, he's got potential, but it's more of a GPP. Keith McGee's a fade, and Dawson Sutton's probably the last one that's going to qualify here. He's been solid when he's raced, and it's another Rackley truck that they're throwing out there. We've seen it before, like I think it was Bowman or one of the Hendricks guys came and raced in. Maybe it's this race in the second Rackley truck, and it had a ton of mechanical problems. But I haven't seen as many Rackley issues. Like De Benedetto was frustrated with the team, but I think they've made some strides this year. But again, it's their whole like track kind of here. They're sponsoring the race, so I presume that this is going to be a good situation for Sutton. He's a decent driver that they're bringing in here for this, and I think that he'll be okay. I don't think he has like tied to win the race, but if he starts like down here in the 20s or so. I think you can get like 5, 10 different place differential points to 6,400. That's decent, for me. I don't think Justin Escaro, Ogata, or Munoz are going to be able to make the race if because you're only going to qualify 36 trucks, and those would be my guess to be a 3 out. So if I got for you, if you have any questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me up at Mega Ruler 31 on X at Twitter. I will try to potentially throw an update into comments. So check back around like a little after 7, after baseball locks, and I'll throw out who my updated primes are going to be, or any other notes in the chat here is just kind of as thank you for watching the video. So just come on back and get the updated notes a little bit after 7 o'clock, and I'll get you ready for the race. So Xfinity is going to be the same thing. Cup will have everything for you. So if these videos help, like, subscribe to our channel, and share with your friends. I appreciate it. 5,000 subscribers and continuing to grow. So appreciate everybody who has joined us and watched us over the years. So thank you so much. Hope you have an amazing Friday night, and good luck in your contest. I'll see you next.